It's a waiver wire Tuesday. We're rolling into week 10. Today's the trade deadline, and we had some doozies go down today, but we are going to go deep looking at those running backs like we do every week. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're going to go deep on the wide receivers later today, and we're going to go over the waiver wire a few more times this week as things change and as we sort out these players. But we're also going to be doing deep dives on all the trending players, the guys getting traded, the guys moving up the depth chart, the guys that are trending off the waiver wire. That way you get the advanced analytics on what you need to do with those players. And we're using these videos to help you set your lineups every single week. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. Do not disappoint Ric Flair. Do not do that. We're starting off with Khalil Herbert. He just got traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. We already dropped a unique video, so if you need more on him, go check that out on his situation. But this is an offense that's explosive. He's going to start off as a backup to Chase Brown. Chase Brown's been going off. However, we view him as a stash play. And the thing is, with the waiver wire and these running backs, we're primarily looking at stash plays. So if you want a stash play from the Bengals that has some upside, who was previously productive with the Bears, not this year though, that is a player you may want to look at. But there's a lot of stash options out there, so I suggest going with the one that you like the most, because all it takes is an injury and the next running back is stepping up. And if you need a handcuff to Chase Brown, this might be the dude for you. I don't really suggest it, but if you got the roster spot, if you want to get something off the Bengals, if you liked them from a few years ago, then this could be a good running back for your depth chart. Tyrone Tracy's rostered in almost 70% of leagues, but he only scored 7 fantasy points this week, so just check if he gets dropped off waivers. He's still massively talented, massively explosive. The Giants are not, and they're going to be in weird game scripts, and he's going to give you volatile games like that on the top and down on the bottom. So if you want a talented running back, just be mindful in what your managers are doing. Ray Davis had another productive game. He had that huge catch for a touchdown last week, and he might be on the waiver wire in your league. He might not. That's why we're covering like 20-plus running backs anyways. So there's going to be somebody for you, but he's getting workload. He's getting opportunities like a 1B back in this backfield. If something happens to James Cook down the line, you're going to want Ray Davis. Audric Estime, there's talks that he's going to be getting more workload coming up. It could happen. It could be just a few more snaps. It could be just one extra touch a game. Or it could be him just getting his audition for next year. Something to pay attention to. It was a very good running back coming out of Notre Dame. I believe I have to drop a unique video on him soon because he is a fascinating running back prospect from the 2024 NFL draft class that has some gusto to his running style that could allow him to produce for you guys. Alexander Mattison should be rostered in most leagues, but he's only scored 12 fantasy points in his last 2 games, so he might have got dropped, and he's getting good workload. He's getting good opportunity, especially getting good work rate in the passing game. Still running back to monitor if you need something kind of steady. Isaac Guerendo. Christian McCaffrey's coming back. Jordan Mason's been dealing with an injury, but you do not know what's happening for the long term with this team. If you liked Guerendo, he's a good pop gun running back with a lot of speed. Any given touch, only needs like 1 or 2 touches and he can go off for you. He's a back that you may want to have stashed or at least have the finger on the trigger. Tyler Allgeier, one of the most underrated handcuffs in the National Football League. If something happens to Bijan Robinson, this guy's getting 20-plus opportunities every single game afterwards because he can handle the workload, and we're seeing him already getting a good workload even with Bijan Robinson there. He's kind of like a handcuff plus running back. If that's something you want, that's something you may want to have stashed on the back end of your roster because we're getting our stashes in order for the back end of the season. Blake Corum. Kyren Williams is getting a lot of work. He's getting a lot of volume, which is great for fantasy football, which is great if you have Kyren Williams. If you have Kyren Williams, considering he's getting a lot of volume, you may want to get that insurance policy with Blake Corum. The best bet is to have both backs because he's getting so many touches and he's running so many snaps, so many pass blocking snaps, that twig could snap. He could get hurt. The odds are increased compared to a lot of other running backs who are running less snaps and carries. Blake Corum could be a guy down the line that could be your league winner. If not, you got that insurance policy. He should be rostered in every league. Jaylen Wright has a ton of upside. He's getting more work, more opportunities by the week. And the thing about him, any given touch could be a home run hit. Any given touch. And all it takes is an injury in this backfield, which these running backs in this offense have been often hurt these last couple years. Jaylen Wright, you guys were drafting him in double-digit rounds. We're coming back from a bye week. The workload has been ramping up by the week since he's been coming back from injury. This could be a running back that you may want to pick up, especially if you're looking for touches and if you're looking for something that's more of a known commodity. Braelon Allen. Breece Hall handcuff right here that is known to get the workload, that is known to catch the ball out of the backfield. If something happens to Breece Hall, you're going to want him. There are some games where he's just productive on his own. They're few and far between. However, Breece Hall goes down, Braelon Allen's going to get a lot of touches. Isaiah Davis, because the Jets have shown their hand that they're willing to share the touches out of this backfield. You got a stud like Breece Hall, but Braelon Allen's getting the touches. Isaiah Davis has been getting a few touches here and there. If something happens to Breece Hall, Braelon Allen's sharing the workload a little bit. Isaiah Davis from the touches is a next guy up, not pictured. Izzy Abanikanda, pay attention to him because he's a damn good running back prospect as well. This team is deep at the running back spots, and that could create a clusterfuck if something happens to Breece Hall because there's so much talent on this team. Roschon Johnson's getting a step up. I was going to talk about him anyway, even before the trade, because he's getting workload, he's getting opportunity, he's being used in the passing game. Something happens to Swift, you're going to see a massive bump up to him. Trey Benson's explosive. If something happens to James Conner, you're going to want him. Everybody's going to rush to the waiver wire to get him. However, if something happens to James Conner, you'll be able to blow a little less fab on Emari Demercado. He's getting more money touches. He's looking very explosive as well. I look for these running backs to share the backfield, and I look for both of them to be good. I look for both of them to be okay, but that situation has to happen. But maybe you want one stashed just in case. That's on you, though. Justice Hill is random in fantasy football, but he's getting those big moments. He's getting those big targets and those opportunities. The matchup just has to be right. Derrick Henry has been massive this year. He's been the king. But Justice Hill, if you're looking for a running back that's catching the ball in the backfield, that's getting some opportunities, that might explode on any given Sunday that you can't really predict, here you go. Sean Tucker. So he's getting volume, he's getting work, but not enough for fantasy football. But we do know he's very talented. We do know if he gets opportunity that he could be a cash play for you in fantasy football. You may want him as a stash. Bucky Irvin came in this week questionable, so it's not like these running backs won't get nicked up or unable to get injured. That being said, even as the RB3, that's technically like an RB2 on any other team because they split up the workload dead nuts evenly with these running backs. That's just how they want to do things. Dearness Johnson. I don't love him, but if you want some touches, you want some opportunity, some snaps at running back, here you go. He gets some work in the passing game. Dalvin Cook. I don't like him, but he's getting some work. The Cowboys are weird. They're doing some weird things. They just traded for Jonathan Mingo. He's getting a little bit more opportunity. Ezekiel Elliott's in the doghouse. Maybe we volume into some fantasy production down the line. I'm not cashing in on it, though. Dameon Pierce, if something happens to Joe Mixon, will be the next guy up. He's been dealing with injuries all season long. But if not, there's Cam Akers. However, you need to pay attention to this backfield. Kimani Vidal is very explosive. Give him the ball on any touch. Could house it. However, J.K. Dobbins has been holding it down. He is a huge story this season, and we're taking it for granted. Keaton Mitchell is coming back. He had a full practice on Monday. Might be back on Thursday. Maybe getting a snap here and there. But he is back. You need to pay attention to him. All he needs is like 2 or 3 carries in a game and just the alleyway to be somewhat open, and he could house it. But those are the running backs we're looking at off the waiver wire. If something else happens on the trade market today, we will drop a You Need video. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. catch you on the next video.